Anine, Sego. Hello everyone and welcome to this week's Just for Kids activity. This week we're going to be doing a little bit of a science experiment of oil and water. So let's go through what we have in our kits. Everybody would have received a bottle of baby oil. Just so you know, this particular activity can be done with baby oil or cooking oil, like vegetable oil. We chose to send the baby oil this week because it's clear, which means that when we add our food coloring, we'll be able to see those colors. It might not work as well if we choose to use vegetable oil in the future, but it is an alternative if you'd like to be able to do this activity again and don't have baby oil handy. So in your kits, you should have received some kind of jar, a glass jar, 4 plastic cups, a little pipette or eyedropper, of course your baby oil, and then you would have had smaller containers of food coloring that came in your kit, and you would have had 4 colors: blue, yellow, red, and green. So I think that we can go ahead and get started. The only thing that you're going to need to add to your materials would be some water. I just got a large mason jar here of water for myself to use. So we can get started with prepping these 4 plastic cups. So here again, we've got 4 cups, and I'm just going to go ahead and add some water into each of these cups. This is a really great opportunity to talk about measurement, have children practice pouring, dumping, filling, all of those different kinds of things. You can figure out how much water fits into each glass. It's just another way to involve and incorporate some fun learning into these science activities. So I've started with my water, and now I'm going to go ahead and add in some food coloring. And again, I've got much bigger bottles here. This is what I used to fill up the containers that y'all received. So that was green. It's really dark. And I'm going to add in some red. And I'll add in the yellow over here. And lastly, I need to get the blue. Another thing, if you're doing this activity with older children, would be to maybe experiment with mixing some of these food colorings together to see if you could make, for example, purple or orange. Obviously, we were able to do that by mixing some of the primary colors, but again, it's just another thing to extend the learning. I'm just going to move my colored water now over to the side. And then I'm going to prep my glass jar. So this is where I'm going to add in some baby oil. I'm also, for the purpose of the video, going to place it on top of this white plate, just because I think that you'll be able to see a lot better if we've got something white under it versus the color of the table itself. So depending on the size of your jar, you can decide how much oil you'd like to add. I don't think I want to add the whole thing because this is potentially something else I would want to be doing again. So I've used about 3/4 of my bottle of baby oil. Oops. Now the activity in and of itself is fairly simple. We've now got our baby oil or cooking oil, whatever you choose to use, in our jar. I'm going to get started with some blue because that's my favorite color. Now, if you've never seen one of these pipettes before, all you have to do is squeeze the top together with your 2 fingers. We're going to place it into the cup, and once we've got it in the cup, we're just going to let go of that top, and it should suck up some of that color. Now, I'm just going to add in some blue drops. And next, I think I'm going to go with red. Again, I'm going to pinch the top, place it in and then squeeze some of that red out. And again, I'm going to drop in some of these red dots. What are you starting to notice as you put your drops in? What's actually happening with them when they hit the top? Are they mixing together and changing colors? They might be. Now, the one thing you can also do is be very specific with where you're placing your dots, because they're going to drop down and fall somewhere within the jar. So I've now got a little bit of every color here in my jar. Now, when we look at it from the top, what exactly are we seeing? Do we see any of the colors that haven't mixed yet? Do we see colors that have mixed? Should we try adding more? What happens if we add a lot at a time? So you can experiment with how quickly you're adding your drops in. And once you've added your drops, take a look in the top and see what's happening. Not only can we look down from the top, but we can also look here at the sides. It looks very different depending on where I'm choosing to look. Go ahead and give it a try. Now, the other thing we could do, and I wonder what would happen if I started shaking it and mixing it together. It gets a little cloudy, but you know what? I can still see some bubbles down there at the bottom. For the sake of trying to show you exactly what's happening just a little better, I'm going to pour this oil out onto my plate. You could try this with a shallow baking dish at home if you have one. And again, I'm going to start with my favorite color of blue. Now I'm going to try red. If you have a pie plate, you could go ahead and you could experiment with the pie plate. I'm going to be honest, you get a much better reaction if you find a shallow dish to use than you do if you're using the jar. I'm not sure though, because this is a bigger jar than what the rest of you may have received, so I'm just experimenting and trying it out with each of them. I wonder what will happen when those green bubbles hit those other colors. Looks like they might pop and join in with each other. Can you make a design or a picture? Go ahead and give it a try. What kind of designs are you able to make with your oil and water? Hope you enjoy this week's activity and experiment. And until next week, Ona!